Good evening, everyone. We're going to go ahead and call the meeting to order at this time. Please turn all cell phones, electronic devices to off or vibrate. Mr. Rick Morris, would you please lead us in our prayer and pray this evening, sir?
Dear Lord, we thank you for this day you've given us. We thank the Lord that during this time of bad weather and tornadoes that there are no injuries, Lord, and that we give thanks for our police department, fire department, city employees, all the first responders who went out and willing to risk their lives for this community. Lord, we just thank you so much for the community coming together as a whole, each one working to aid the others. Lord, as we go about the business of Ballinger, we ask that you would give us insight and knowledge and wisdom to make decisions that be good for the city of Ballinger and for all who reside here. I pray this in your name. Amen. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Morris. All right, consider approval of the minutes of the May 6, 2019 meeting. Does everyone have time to read, please? Any changes, corrections? Okay, if not.
I make a motion to accept the minutes as they are.
Do you have a copy or what? Second? All in favor, say aye. All right, any citizen who desires to address the city council on a matter not included on the agenda may do so at this time. Per the Open Meeting Act, the city council may not deliberate on items presented under this agenda item. All presentations are subject to a 5-minute time limit. This is the time that if you are not on the agenda to speak, if you have something to say during the other parts of the meeting, during the other agenda items, it is not allowed unless you're called upon or allowed to. Is anybody not on the agenda wish to speak this evening? Everybody jump up and down, all right? Okay, thank you. All right, City Council may consider, discuss, and approve a presentation from Laura Brown and Nate Gallant to make improvements to the putt-putt of the area as TMCN scholarship project. I only had you two listed, but there's also...
What's your name?
John Gutierrez. John Gutierrez. I wouldn't remember, but sorry.
John Gutierrez.
Alright, so this is Zoom 4. I'm Laura Brown.
I'm Nate Gallant.
I'll go ahead.
All three of us are juniors, and there is a sponsor, Terry Carroll. She's in charge of Junior Chamber of Commerce, and every year she appoints a team of TMCN kids, or Junior Chamber of Commerce kids, to do a project for TMCN, which is Texas Midwestern Community Network, in order to somehow improve their community in a long-standing way, in order to possibly win scholarship money. And that's what we're proposing for today, is our project for TMCN. When we took it, we were told that this is something we've never heard of before, so you might be in for a treat. The plan. Our TMCN team wants to build a dog park on the land where the putt-putt is located. A couple of weeks ago, we had been hearing rumors around school that the putt-putt was going to be torn down due to its state and turned into a dog park. We later talked to Ms. Paskey about this in the park board, and we learned that this was simply a rumor. But the way it spread about the high school was almost crazy. Every teenager was talking about possibly going down to a new dog park, taking their dogs. Animals are totally a craze. Everyone posted pictures about them. They were excited, and then the rumor was swept away. So we thought, well, if everyone was talking about it, possibly discussing using such a dog park, why not incorporate it into a plan?
Assessing the current layout. We actually went to the putt-putt 2 weeks ago, took some pictures of the current, but Mr. Zant designed the current layout for us of the putt-putt, which we found was very helpful so that we can look at what we need to, about how we would design the dog park.
So this is the current layout.
Yeah, that was the current layout that Mr. Zant designed for us.
The current layout of the putt-putt.
And here are just some pictures of the putt-putt and what state it is in right now.
And this is 3/4 of the year since it's off season. This was 2 weeks ago when Nate and I went and took some pictures.
So this is what the putt-putt looks like currently.
Yes. Off season.
They're right.
Also, the hole posted before that on the title card, that one hole, I remember going up to putt-putt one time, and they have that hole marked up because it eats golf balls, it doesn't work. There's some more pictures of all that. There's one right there. Now, here's our proposed layout of the putt-putt with a new key. Let me hand some of these forms up. Yes. For your consideration, we'll go through and touch on every single piece of equipment that we're going to implement in the key. I have some extra in case anybody wants one. So, in talking about our plan of what we're going to do first, we're going to talk about certain aspects of what stays. John, how about that?
What stays?
Got it there.
Yeah. The building. Our plan for a dog park will still include the historic building located on the land. There are still many uses for this structure that can be utilized for a dog park. We would also like to possibly clean the outside to make the building more attractive to those who enter or drive by the park. Trees. For purpose of preserving some of the nature in the park, our team would leave the trees in the putt-putt line. The trees will also provide shade for some of the new implementations we have planned. Flower beds. After surveying the locations of the flower beds on the course, our team has decided to keep the flower beds far away from our more active implementations and will provide a nice aesthetic for the park.
Lookouts. We plan to take out the putt-putt holes. In order to have an open space for additions and the dogs who will use them, the holes that make up the putt-putt course will need to be cleared away. We also plan to take out the foundations surrounding the holes. The foundations underneath the putt-putt holes will need to be pulled up as well in order for the proposed dog park to have flat ground for the equipment and the dogs to run around. The storage shed. From what our team has learned, the storage shed located at the putt-putt premises is not actually utilized or holding any important equipment that cannot be stored elsewhere.
What will be added? Benches part 1. So there's already stone benches, but we're going to add some more. The benches in our new dog park will provide visitors and dog owners a place to sit in order to properly monitor their dogs. In order to ensure the lasting quality of these benches, our team plans to have the benches commissioned and made out of metal. Our team got in touch with 2015-2016's team. Tammy worked with them very often. Zach Gottmers, Kenzie Arrett, who actually commissioned benches similar to the ones in the picture. We asked them where to purchase them or how much the rough estimate cost would be. We were told that the 2 metal benches that we would want to place in the park would cost approximately $300 to $400 per bench, making the total cost for 2 $600 to $800. The TMCN team we also contacted gave us ideas on who to commission, such as Tolliver Brothers, Local Welders, and Mueller.
Picnic tables. Putting picnic tables in this new dog park will allow visitors to place their items down in a safe area as they monitor their dog. These tables will also provide an alternative seating area to the benches. As with the benches, the proposed material, we would like these tables to be made out of some sort of metal that will last a long time. If the rough cost estimate for each table is around $550, then 2 will cost $1,100.
Bag dispenser. In order for the dog park to be both safe and clean, we want to provide visitors with a bag dispenser. These bags will allow dog owners to clean up after their cat's waste. The median price for one bag dispenser can range from $75 to $200, depending on whether or not this dispenser includes a waste bin. Our team can purchase 2 bag dispensers without their own baskets for around $250, which means each one will cost around $125.
Also, speaking on a hygienic point, and we'll touch on this with the trash receptacles, is that in the dog park, the waste will be concentrated instead of being spread out, and now there will be regulations placed on these people who attend the dog park in order to clean up the waste.
Trash receptacles. After contacting the former TMCN team, we found out that one price for one metal trash can costs around $100 to $200 each. Since we want to have at least 3 available for dog owners to put waste in, the combined cost for 3 bins would cost around $300 to $600. Dog park rules. A rule sign will be necessary in preserving the safety of the dog park and the attendees. From online searches, our team has learned that the average price for a dog park goal sign that can be hung on chain link fence will cost around $50.
Here's the fun part, not just sitting areas. Our team plans to place training and play equipment in the new park for owners to utilize and dogs to enjoy. Slalom poles, a tunnel, jumping bars, step stools, a ramp, and jumping hoops are all pieces we want to implement in the new dog park. So, just to look at it and see exactly what we're talking about in a visual sort of way, we pulled these from Google and Lowe's. They're selling the full sets. We don't plan on purchasing from them because they're selling them for $20,000.
So this is just examples of what you
Yes.
envision this looking like.
If you look in the bottom picture over there, a lot of the pieces you see are actually ones we're going to implement specifically, and we'll touch on them in just
Or what?
a second.
And what?
Sorry. In the bottom picture, a lot of pieces such as the ramp, the step stools, and the tunnel are visible, and we'll be touching on those in this presentation and their rough cost estimates. Here.
Slalom poles. Implementing slalom poles in the new dog park will give dog owners a new and free way to train their dog. Dogs will also be able to use these poles recreationally.
Our team wants to implement exactly 5 slalom poles into the new dog park. The estimated cost for materials, metal piping, and dairy base attached to the pole would cost roughly $10 if our team buys the material and metal tubing sheet from Mueller. The total cost of materials for these slalom poles would be approximately $50. I've gotten pictures of these tubings after talking to some workers along with my father there. It's just scrap left over from projects they don't need, and we may even be willing to donate some of the things we list.
Right. Similar to the slalom poles, a new ramp for the dog agility course will give owners a new way to train their dogs. Dogs can play both on top and under this piece of equipment.
To ensure that the ramp will be long-lasting, our team plans to use mainly metal materials for this construction. A rough estimate for the cost of these materials, metal pipes to uphold the structure, diamond plating to give the dogs traction to walk up and down to ensure they won't slip and fall, will cost around $250 to $325. So I have to say this is more for scaling is the picture. We won't be having the bars on the ramp specifically, more so the diamond plating, which is not aluminum for cost standards, will be able to uphold the dog's traction because they already have sheen for that at Mueller. They also have sheen.
Step stools. Stepping stools are not only a fun and useful piece of equipment for dogs, but their potential for decoration can make both the dog park and the city park as a whole more attractive.
Our team plans to install 5 step stools into the dog park agility course. The estimated price for the middle stools comes to around $75 for all 5.
Jumping hoops. Another common piece of equipment found in dog parks and agility courses are jumping hoops. They have a relatively simple and cheap design to offer endless opportunities for training and just play.
Since dog hoops are generally easy to make and don't require expensive materials to function, the estimated cost for these hoops, if entirely made of metal, comes to around $60. The price goes even lower if we use other materials such as hose to form the hoop.
Tunnel. A tunnel will be a fitting addition to our dog park community because it can be used in both training and recreation. This is not the only benefit. However, a tunnel can also be easily decorated to improve the overall image of the park.
Now here's where it gets kind of specific because Isn't excited. My partner and I actually got to go out to Mueller. So it's about
I'll send them
right. So they're about probably 1.5 feet in radius around the base, so larger dogs and smaller dogs can use these. These are 2 pipes welded together about probably 5 feet long. If we were to cut the bottom half to make them semicircular and place them on the ground, it gives the dogs a flat area to run through, and it's already 2 ways for them to run through. So the metal tunnels we're proposing are semi-half cylinders that have already been pre-welded. The estimated cost of these materials range from $100 to $150 if we buy them from Mueller, because once again, this was in the scrap pile and we were just digging around. Our team, with the help from those who work with metal, can cut the bottom portion of these pipes off to make a varied effect.
Jumping bars. Jumping bars, in addition with other equipment, can be used in training and play. Unlike to provide a photo, our team plans on creating adjustable jet setting sets for different types of dogs.
The pole that dog owners can adjust Can be set on the stand in intervals of 6 inches. This will allow both smaller and larger dogs to enjoy the set and therefore making it more accessible. A metal jumping set with adjustable bar will cost around $100 to $120 to purchase.
Completed fencing. A rock wall currently serves as a short fence that closes the putt-putt. In order for a dog park to effectively contain dogs, the fence must be closed. The long section of the rock wall is roughly 74 feet long. The short section of the rock wall is roughly 32 feet long. The height of the fence needs to be approximately 6 feet tall. The cost for each linear running foot of the completed fence will come to about $5 to $6, including the fence post. The new fence will cost approximately $535 to $640 to build, including the expenses for the post.
Other purchases included.
Grass seed. Once foundations around the putt-putt holes are cleared away, we will need to replant grass that was dug up in the process. The cost of grass seed needed to cover the land of the dog park will either have an expense or not. This depends on whether or not we can get the grass seed donated. Paint and primer. While paint and primer don't seem as grand as the former pieces, the cost in securing the large amount of paint and primer needed to finish the dog park is around $400 to $450.
So in terms of labor, we want to know who's exactly going to carry all of this out. So tearing up the holes in foundations. Tearing up foundations and holes in the putt-putt will require adult supervision and effort. Our team hopes to enlist the efforts of the city in order to supply the construction equipment and people needed to clear the land. Restoring flat land post-clearing. After we've successfully cleared the land of the former mini golf course, our team can begin to step in and help with restoring its landscape. From past years, coaches employed by our school and other administrators have often helped us supply workers during TMCN projects. Our team can receive help in landscaping by enlisting the efforts of other students and organizations.
How many people are you thinking?
So we've already had some organizations come up to us and wish to help in order to get their community service hours in, kids who are just trying to get in that last kick before college, juniors just like us. DECA is actually interested because they do an annual dog wash every year to help them with fundraising. We recently got to compete internationally in Florida for that. They have dog washes and they've shown interest in wanting to possibly hold it at a dog park and do it as their community service project, so we'd probably be seeing around 10 to 15 out of their 25, since you can never expect everyone to be there, hands to be working with us at all times. And their administrator, Lisa Gibbs, would be helping as well, because she definitely wants those kids to go out there, and she will be monitoring them. And also just junior Chamber of Commerce members using social media to recruit other students, talking to coaches, getting kids in athletics. That'll be John's forte. Because those athletics kids usually really help a lot.
Planting grass. Planting grass is also a job that can be done properly by volunteers and community active students. The labor required for this duty should be without expense.
Can I say something real quick about volunteers? Last year when we did the park, we had about 50 that came down and helped us. It's pretty easy to get kids and community members. We had a lot of adults that showed up as well. So.
Implementing new fence. Once our team gathers the necessary funds and materials for completing the fence, our team can dig holes for the posts and set the new fence up. We may need help from adults who have experience in setting up fences.
Placing trash, receptacles, and bag dispensers. After waste bins, bag dispensers, picnic tables, and benches have been conditioned and built, our team can ask for help from fellow students in need of ours and other JCC members to place these items in the new dog park. Constructing play equipment. The construction of the play equipment will require those who can weld and shape metal. We can commission and ask for labor from our local businesses who can deal in construction. Decorating play equipment. Once the equipment is constructed and paint/primer has been bought, we can ask the students to help the school to aid us in decorating the pieces. Athletes and other members and students who need service hours have been known to provide service to TMCN projects such as DECA. A business chapter in our school has also helped to offer volunteers in this project.
So costs. Overall, we don't have grass seed just yet. We have the square footage at $13,000 for the entire putt-putt approximately. So we still have to do the math on that, or possibly we can get it donated, so we're not adding it to the final score yet. All of the prices we've listed come to approximately $3,320 to $4,670 as well. It's not that scary of a number for an entirely new park. Okay. Also, we will be meeting with Lions Club and Rotary Club sometime in the next end of this week to be able to ask for funds if this gets approved. Me and Nate here were recently promoted in Rotary Interactive President and Vice President, and they recently promoted Interactive an animal-centered project by donating $2,000 to the animal shelter. Hopefully they'd be willing to give some money toward this cause as well. Any questions?
Do you have a copy of the dog park rules?
Dog park rules, we're currently drafting a set of them, and we've been looking at examples online. I've also gotten to visit some dog parks in San Antonio, and I got to see the one in Sweetwater they recently built.
And
So when it is completed,
It's fun. Yes, sir.
when it is completed, what about maintenance and upkeep?
Maintenance and upkeep will fall under with the same guidelines of the rest of the park. And because it will not be seasonal like the putt-putt, it will look nice all year round if we can just maintain it to the same degree as other parks at the park.
it's actually gonna be less maintenance. Because the
Less maintenance than what we have
golf
right now.
course, the way it is, it takes a lot of time to get it set up. and then to-
You can go around.
Yeah, all that stuff continues. We had to buy another mower just for that because all the other mowers are big. So we had to get a smaller one for it to go in.
And John mentioned this a couple days ago, but we recently had it refurbished in the past decade, and still 2 holes get clogged up with leaves pretty often, and you can't play when they get marked off the cards.
What are the dimensions of the park
So
now, approximately?
this is about 172 feet by 77. This makes about 1,300, and we found this out, we're trying to calculate. Yeah.
Is there any water supply that you can use for the dogs?
In the building,
Right.
one of the reasons we didn't want to get rid of the building is because it has running water.
Okay, and it's still water bowls or something
The only
there.
thing is,
Um,
this is the part is on the backside wall.
I guess the little waste bags, you know, that go in there, would the city just have to order those and keep in stock like they would other things in the park? Okay, that's all.
All right, thank you very much.
Tell us about the one in Sweetwater.
So I saw this on the news a couple of days ago, and while passing by on my trip, I got to see it actually. It's a little bit decked out.
You think? It's on the interstate.
Big open space. They have a splash pad
Oh, no.
shaped like dog boats.
No.
And it's from water. Let's not go a little bit crazy, but it was a beautiful experience. And I got to go to San Antonio and see that one as well. All these tall skyscrapers in San Antonio, downtown, all the apartments. Just this little dog park sitting right there, a couple benches, bag dispenser. And you know, I was talking to someone at the church the other day, Leah Holscher, and she mentioned to me, remember all the stuff between big and little dogs, and they're going to get into fights. Look at that dog park. If we can add on the rule sign, as you mentioned, to keep aggressive dogs out, we'll actually flow pretty well.
Now, the ones we went to in Houston typically had a small dog yard and a large dog yard, because we had a 4-pound dog and a 100-pound dog.
Yeah.
Split.
But that could be in the future.
Or if we have issues, we just run a fence across it and split the gate and fine.
And if 5 to 6 feet, I'm so sorry, $5 to $6 for each running foot, it would probably maybe be a $400 at the most dollar implementation if there are any serious issues
You talking about
arise.
the cross fence?
Oh yeah, that's true. Little versus big dog.
No biggie. That's down there, we'll see how it goes.
You don't see any problem with the waste bins being inside the dog fence themselves? The waste bins, not the dog waste, but the human trash bins. Do they have any trouble with those being inside the fence or outside of you?
So there aren't really many trash bins inside the putt-putt to begin with, except that you really kind of had one near the building. So because it would be made of metal and not so much plastic, they wouldn't be easily knocked over, and that would come out. Be able to.
Are they tall?
Yes, they're about.
So you have a trash dog that likes to get in?
It's similar,
Oh, yeah.
the ones
These are
that you
metal,
showed
these
are
are
similar to the
valves.
ones we have downtown. The ones that we're
Big
putting.
enough.
Yeah,
that
they're
would-
good.
The TMCN, we did the closet trash cans, what I was kind of referencing.
Right.
They're heavy. It would take probably a 200-pound dog to knock them over, and even then, you would have trouble.
Well, and something like that would secure the concrete
Right,
post.
and those are all bolted down.
Right.
And then you're gonna have a lid on it that has
Yeah.
to change everything
Yeah.
where the lid can.
The same as the ones down there.
Frisbee it out somewhere.
Any other questions?
No questions. Good presentation. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Good job.
Thank you, Mr. Zach, for helping make your presentation.
You bet.
You have this stuff?
I do have one question.
Yes, sir.
Okay, this is gonna go on the newspaper and probably on the radio. Why, we have a lot of nostalgia built up on this, the putt-putt as it is. Do you have anything to say to people who might believe that we should leave it the way it is, for nostalgia's sake?
I was talking to my family earlier and I visited my grandmother in the hospital. She's been in very, very poor health recently. When I told her about our idea, well, she dropped her jaw at me and glared at me for a good 5 minutes. And I told her, well, Nanny, if we love the puppet so much, why don't we go to it? When's the last time any of us have gone and played? Have you driven by and seen the shape it's in? It's horrible to let it go, but it's even worse to see it in that shape 3/4 of the year when you used to cherish it so much. And seeing it be made something new that's more accessible, I think it'd be like a healthier use of the land than seeing the puppet in its state.
Well,
It would look better.
right. The cost of updating what we have was already going to come to the point where a lot of that was going to have to be replaced anyway. So we're going to have to take it out. So basically what you're asking to do is to do what was already going to be the plan if we did replace the putt-putt. This is another plan to give it an opportunity. If this takes off, then we go with it. If it doesn't take off, then you can replace the putt-putt. You're leaving the building. Which that, from everybody that I've talked to, that's really the biggie,
Yeah.
the historical part of
It's a
the
little
park.
hassle.
Yeah, it's been there. I mean, you talk to people that are 60, 70, 80 years old, is that still there? Yes. Still there. Yeah. So really, the nostalgia, as far as I see it, you're leaving that for.
And it does have working plumbing, like I mentioned, so to
Yeah.
tear it down and do anything with it would just be a huge waste.
No, it has the plumbing and everything.
And you can water the dogs from there, fill their water bowls.
Well, that or.
Our little cousin said, are we losing the snow cones? No,
No.
they're going to be moved to the concessions
They're
across
fine.
the park
They're fine.
with the pool.
I don't think we have anything else.
Anybody else?
We appreciate y'all coming up here.
Good job. Good job.
Coming up with the idea to make it a project. We look forward to a lot of hard work, possibly. So, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Good job.
All right, motion to approve the presentation of Will Brown, Nate Gallant, and John Diego, is that correct?
Jerry.
Yes. Oh, sorry, here's another G in there. All right, to make improvements to the putt-putt area of the park, the TMCN scholarship project into a dog park. Second? Second. All in favor, say aye. 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 All right. Thank y'all very, very much. Good job, good presentation. A lot of work done to this point, and a lot more to go. All right, City Council may consider discussing and authorize the annual Justin Byler 5K run event set for May 27th, 2019. I know we discussed it last time, it is an agenda item this time. You want to talk, Mr. Chaz?
Did we not have a map around
Yeah.
it? Okay.
We did that.
There you go.
So I guess we might have to adjust that route a little bit.
Just a little.
We might have to cut the corner a little bit. So I don't think too many people are going to complain about, a little bit shorter run. But we'll see how things are looking next week on that. But other than that, I mean, as far as on my end, things are looking pretty good. And everything's
Set to go.
set to go, absolutely.
What day is it?
It is next Monday morning, 8 a.m. We look to be done before the ceremony at the courthouse.
Chad, talk about what this benefit would.
This will benefit the Justin Byler Scholarship Fund, which was just handed out at the senior awards and benefited 5 of our seniors this graduating class. they were able to hand out 5 scholarships, and this will go to next year's class, and hopefully we can outdo that and give out more. And it's a great way to help out our youth and to honor one of our fallen heroes and to show our support for one of our great families, and do what we can do.
Good job. All right. Any other questions? No?
Do I have to run or can I just walk?
Yeah, can we walk it?
Absolutely.
All
I'm walking.
right. Motion to authorize the annual Justin Byler 5K run event set for May 27th, 2019, please.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, sir. Do what?
I'm gonna go try and get my word in.
Appreciate that. Thank you very much. And thank you for all you're doing, and thank you for that, sir. All right, City Council may consider, discuss, and authorize budget minutes for the 2019 fiscal year budget. You have those in your packet.
Basically, we're making some adjustments on the budget. We've had some cost savings in some areas, and some expenditures in other areas. For instance, the Pioneer Plaza, the Scout Hut, let's see what else. Safety equipment, street signs, animal control helper, part-time recycling attendant. Some of these areas we've increased or we've added that weren't in the original budget. So we've taken away other items that we have not expended any money in these accounts and will not. So we're just shifting money to cover the budget items that weren't in the original budget. On your proposed budget here, your items in red are the items that we're not going to spend money on. The items in black are what we're moving the money to.
So overall, how does it break out? How much you're,
Well, it's not going to go over budget or under budget. We're just
So we've done our budget where we need to be at for the year, we're just moving things around.
yes.
what you're moving out of one place to another, what correlation do you have there?
Well, it's an even amount. I think it's $69,400.
Okay, all right, that's what it is, that's the number I was looking for.
Yes, sir.
Can you explain the animal control?
There was too much money put in there to start with. And that's when Sam was in the animal control, and they moved into the street.
Sam was in there. He was making approximately $9, I think 30 cents an hour.
Okay.
And but they had him at full time, I believe, or 32 hours, whatever the minimum was that we had to put him at. When we moved him over into regular city street, then we picked up the part-time, the Miss Speckles, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And she's working, I believe it's $7 and some odd cents an hour, maybe 8, I can't remember. But there's an offset there where we had too much money left in that account.
Well, there is an additional helper down there now.
Yes, but it's only going to be for a short period of time. It's my understanding Heather's leaving.
Heather will be leaving, yes.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure that, I mean, it wasn't brought to my attention.
We got them covered.
Okay, I'm just asking.
Yeah, no.
I mean, no one told me about it, so I'm just asking, try to figure out why.
Yeah.
Okay.
Questions, concerns?
So all of this is with the social security, insurance, and everything, is an offset from the salaries that you were paying that you're cutting.
Right.
Part-time, or just for the, or for the.
Yeah, this is part of it. Yeah. But see, some of it, we started really light in some of our employees, some of our departments were light in employees and have been most of the year. And so a lot of cost savings in some of those areas as well.
Okay, Mr. Bud?
Are we still on that page?
Yes.
This is all.
The general ledger.
Are you through with this one, Tom?
Proposed. Yes, it actually goes with this one as an
So
attachment.
tell me when I ask these questions, I'm not being critical, I just.
I understand. Yeah.
So, in November, turkeys and hams for city employees of almost $1,000, is that gonna be an annual thing, or has it been an annual thing?
I believe it has been an annual thing for, I don't know how long.
Long time. It's 5, 10 years.
And $251 gift card with a horse slate.
Oh, we had an individual here that she was, traveling and she got stuck here for a little bit and we needed her to go down the road.
Isn't that the road with the ministerial alliance?
Yes, and they gave some money and, the next step was after that. We just needed to get her gone.
Did your church give some money, Rick?
Yes,
They gave,
worked at the church. We filled up both her
Okay.
fuel tanks and bought her some food and gave her, I think, $40 cash to get on down the road, and also make arrangements with the church in Brownwood. When she got there, they would top off her fuel tanks and she could go on where she could go.
She hauling horses?
she had 2 horses. She was bringing them in from South Dakota. And, she originally just stopped for water. She was a vagrant with 2 horses is basically what she was.
Was she like in a truck, or in a trailer? I'm picturing someone riding into town on a
Oh, she
horse.
got a big dually.
Might as well.
Yeah, thanks.
About
Yeah, that's not,
30-foot.
okay, all right.
And what is this, Tommy, school teaching books, first and fourth for $329?
Apparently that's, some books that, this is a donation that we have for this company. They supply books for the elementary.
For every top of the elementary is a cup.
Yes, yes. And this is part of that. You pay this money, they supply these books. We're not the only ones that donate.
Okay.
And it's a program that's offered. I think we're listed in the actual book that's given. And apparently this is an ongoing program.
It's every year.
Yes. Every 2 years, I believe. Right.
They come to us every year.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe y'all give one.
And again, I care for you and every member of your family. Graduation gift for T. Attorney, $51.
I've not seen that. Oh, is that something coming up?
5/15/19.
That was for Jennifer Red. Her son.
Graduation gift, T. Attorney.
One of our employees is having a son that graduated this year. Janet Parks. son.
Okay.
Yeah. I think maybe my name is on there because I authorized it.
Okay.
Yeah. Unfortunately, my son's not graduating. You got 2 years to go. Long years to go.
That's all I have, sir. Thank you, Tom.
Number 2. this one here on the wall, the mural, the Paskey's is talking about doing McAllister in $2,000. Has that not been taken care of?
I believe that was part of the hotel motel tax fund.
Well, that's what I was asking.
Right, that was part
It's
of
down
it.
here because I think, if I'm not mistaken, Belinda was paid through the city, but the hotel motel tax reimbursed the city that $2,000.
That is correct. Right, that is correct. Yes. Yes, we paid it, however, it was reimbursed. Same thing with the fountain. Ms. Dankworth, or the Dankworth family gave us half the money for that as well. But we paid it, they reimbursed us.
So Tommy, some of these transactions were reversed. With the Scout Hut, there's like 48, almost 50 charges.
Yes, there's,
Some of these were reversed. Did Higginbottom donate paint and stuff like that?
they did, they donated $4,500 or $5,000, something like that.
Higginbottom?
They, not Higginbotham's, I'm sorry, the Rotary Club.
Yeah.
And they had the account set up at Higginbotham's, and we just draw down as they came in.
Okay.
And now, some of the items we did have to pay for, Rotary Club reimbursed us as much as they could, till we tapped them out on the $5,000. We did have to buy some electrical equipment and things like that.
I understood.
That is correct, yes.
And that's hopefully finished.
It's complete, done. We got some minor work to do on the outside, just landscaping, but all the spending is done. Because our guys can do, the landscaping part of it. And we do already have some paint to paint the outside, and I'll be working with the scouts to organize another paint party where we can all get down there and paint the outside of that building. But it's already purchased, so it's turnkey, ready to go, and they're able to use the inside currently.
That's it for me, Sam.
Rick?
I'm okay.
Christie?
We got the, he explained it well. That's what my boss used to say. He explained it well.
Good question.
All right, motion to authorize budget amendments for fiscal year 2019 as presented.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Say aye. All right, City Council may consider, discuss, and authorize a resolution to accept public management as the grant administrator for a FAST grant. You're gonna have to do some speed something on this because it's all crammed into one time. Yes, no?
Yeah, I don't know, we got a grant administrator
Ken
here.
here.
Yeah. He can run us down on this.
Yeah, what this is this money comes from Texas Department of Agriculture. It's the same CDBG money that comes from HUD, block grant money. You guys recently, probably in March, submitted an application to do some street work, but that's pending. So this is the same organization, same money coming from HUD, still block grant money. However, they've got some money that I don't know how they accumulated over the years, but it's basically money that's left over. They call it the obligated money. What they've been authorized to do is go out for this FAST fund, and it's basically fire trucks, ambulances, fire equipment, those kind of things. It's a $500,000 grant. The city's match is $5,000. Whether you use $250 or $500, all you're on the hook for is $5,000. What you're doing tonight is hiring your administrator to write the application and then administer the grant. Since it's still a grant, a CDBG grant, you still have to go through all of the hoops that you would normally do if you're doing a street or a sewer project or a water project. And about 4 to 5 years ago, they basically required everyone to start procuring the administrator before the application is written. And so our fee would come out of the grant money, and we would write the application for you and then administer the grant and get you through all of the hoops. We don't charge you guys, we don't get funded, and we don't get paid. So that's kind of how we operate. We've Kay Howard has done some grants for you in the past, and she had asked us to write this application for you guys if we were interested. And I think Tommy you had to go send out their, Bonita sent out,
We had to go out.
the administrators are pre-procured. In other words, are pre-qualified through the department. As long as the fees don't exceed $50,000, they're able to use this process. And I think you sent out like RFPs to three separate.
We sent out 3 separate RFPs. Did we get that on there, the bid tab?
For the grant?
Yes. Apparently we didn't get the bid tab up, but we sent it out to, the minimum was 3 bidders that you can send it out to. He sent it out to, I think, 20. I think that was the amount of grant administrators that the state of Texas has that you can send out to. We got 2 no bids back, so that means they didn't bother to send in a proposal at all. Then we got a proposal from Public Management Corporation. And so this is who we will be using or propose to use for applying for this grant.
Yeah, these things are due in June 13th is the deadline. I've been doing this for 20 years. I took over from our bosses, did this since 1982, so we've been doing this for quite a long time. We've done all kinds of stuff. CDBG, I do a lot of planning with that CDBG money. We also do water, sewer, street projects, Texas Water Development Board, all those kind of things. But basically the money, it's going to be a quick turnaround. And once, you're competing statewide, but we do know you guys, we kind of pre-score some of the applicants that we have. You're in a good spot, we think.
What this is based on our low to moderate income population and also our service area. And we're choosing to just stay basically within the city
limits. Yes.
City limits. That's going to be the service area that we're going to propose for this grant.
Right. And the department, another thing that boosts your score is that even though you just applied for the 2019-2020 fund, you did not apply or you did not receive a grant in the 2017-2018 cycle. And so that automatically gives you extra points. So in other words, some of the people around the state that got funded in 2017 and 2018 for like sewer and water projects, they can get as many points in that category as you guys did. So it's a good opportunity for the city.
Now, our fire department has gone out. This will be part of the grant. I don't know if you want to talk about
It's basically I think they're looking at 2 trucks or 1 or 2 trucks, right?
Yes.
Okay. And
We go up for 5. What is it? 2 pieces of equipment.
I think it's 2 vehicles and then up to 5 pieces of equipment.
That's right. Yes.
But when you hit 500,000, you're probably.
Well, and part of our mantra is, not to leave any money on the table. We want to go get as much as we can, even though we've got a new to us ladder truck. We can always improve some of our equipment. We may need a pump truck.
Mm-hmm.
We may need, I know we need an emergency service vehicle.
And it can be that as well. It can not just a fire, but it can be an ambulance.
Right. Because currently, right now, we're using Brent Allen's father-in-law's old van to haul our jaws of life. So if we can get an actual vehicle to haul the jaws of life,
Yeah, some of the equipment includes breathing apparatus, single breathing apparatus, jaws of life, as you mentioned.
I believe it includes the cascade system on some of these vehicles we're looking at.
Yeah.
Our fire department went out and got some bids already, and I think we got a few more coming in. Yes, so anyway, we're trying to get all this together for the June deadline. On this line item, on the agenda, and this is just discuss authorized submission rate.
Yeah, the second one will be the resolution, Tommy, the next.
Yeah, this is just
To hire the administrator, and then you got another item would be to pass the resolution allowing us to do it.
Yes. And that pretty much sums it up. Do y'all have any questions on this? So
Donnie, you said regardless of the grant amount, if approved, we're only subbed for $5,000.
Yes, that is correct.
What does he get paid?
He'll get paid approximately 10%, I believe.
It's going to be 35 grand is our cap on that.
35,000? Okay.
Comes out of it's a line item inside the 500,000.
Okay.
He gets paid a percentage of the grant amount?
It's either a percent or it's a maximum of 35,000.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, percentage would be like 50, so no, it's gonna be more like 7% or something like that.
Right. So your maximum will be
But
35,
max,
or straight line 35.
straight line 50, it would be 35.
Right. So he'll get paid 35.
Yeah, normally they allow up to 60%, but
Right,
they're
right.
capping this program.
Right.
The bigger, the smaller of 35 or 16%.
Okay.
So we're not gonna be able to do
But it doesn't cost the city anything.
that. If you don't get funded, like I said, we're not gonna charge you to write the application.
Well, that's a minute amount, what we're talking about.
Well, yeah, but see, technically, if we do get funded, we don't have to pay him 35. It actually comes out of the grant money.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Right, right.
It's a very small amount.
Yeah, the only thing that's coming out of your pocket is 5,000, which would go toward a piece of equipment.
And that's
So in other words,
only
yeah, let's say your quotes come in at 450. Then I would back out 5, and I would put 445 in grant and 5 in match.
Right.
And then add the other 35 in administrative inside the grant.
Any other questions?
All right. Motion to authorize the budget, motions to authorize a resolution to accept public management as a grant administrator for.
So moved. So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thanks, Bob. Excited.
Well, it could be over here.
I talked too fast. I said I think we're. Sorry, yeah. City council may consider, discuss, and authorize the submission of a resolution for a fast grant application.
Mayor, once again, this is just the the resolution that's required. Authorizing the submission, and it authorizes the city man, the mayor, I think, and the mayor pro tem to be in charge of signing.
Correct.
Okay, very
And
good.
tell us some more on the grant. Any other questions? Are we okay to move forward now, Bob?
You're the man.
Oh, you're. Motion to authorize the submission of resolution for a fast grant application, please. Second.
Second.
All in favor, say
Aye.
Thank you, guys. Nice meeting you.
aye. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Be careful on your way home.
Thank you.
All right, city council may consider, discuss, and authorize the submission of a resolution to include the city to intervene in an AEP rate case proceeding before the PDC. What is this about?
Okay, AEP is our electric line. They own the grid here in Ballinger. Okay, all the transmission lines that you see in Ballinger, AEP owns it. Then it'll butt up and right outside the county in Coleman County Cooperative, or Coleman County Electric Department. AEP has gone before the Public Utility Commission to ask for an increase in their rates. This resolution is to get, there's a lawyer that is not Pat Chesser. He's actually contacted this law group, this law firm, to represent us and about 30 other cities to go before the Public Utility Commission and object to this rate increase. So this basically is for us to hire this law firm to represent us in this rate increase dispute, I guess. We're trying to fight this rate increases that AEP is trying to put on us. Basically is what it boils down to. And we need this specialized law firm that they only do public utility law.
What's the cost of it?
I don't think there's going to be a cost because what he does, he'll work with the utility commission to get funding. Does that make sense? It's like think what they call it. Well, no, class action lawsuit.
So what does he get paid?
The utility commission will get AET to pay for him.
Okay.
So this is a coalition of cities going together
That's correct.
to fight this.
Yes, so far we got 30.
This gentleman would be representing us,
He represents all 30.
all 30.
This is basically a class action lawsuit.
Let's join it into the class action law.
Right.
My only thing about the agenda item is we're saying we're going to intervene with AEP before the PUC, but we did not list the person that we're talking about hiring or adjourning.
Agreed.
So who is the attorney or the person?
Well, we can approve the resolution and the attorney's name is on the resolution.
Lloyd
Gossip.
Roseling?
Yes, that's the
Lloyd
individual.
Roseling?
Yes.
That's it.
Do I?
We can approve the resolution
in the
and the
memorandum.
name is on the resolution.
Right. And this
We're talking
was,
Lloyd Gosling out of Alton?
yes. Now, this was actually going to be presented by Pat, but he wasn't here tonight, so I'm stepping up.
So has Pat looked over this?
Oh, yeah, he's the one who gave it to us. He gave it to us and asked us to put it on the agenda. And the resolution verbiage.
Is there any reason Lloyd's name wasn't mentioned in the agenda item?
Because Pat didn't tell us to put it in there.
Oh.
He sent it and said, hey, put this on the agenda, bam.
Well,
It
so-
is listed in the memorandum.
It is, yes.
I'm for intervening. I'm for going before the PUC. I'm for the rate being fought.
Right.
But the person, I'm not for. He misrepresented us in previous council.
Okay.
Well,
Well,
He's not just representing us in this case.
well, this may be something we need to talk with Pat about. Is this something we might want to set a table?
So we
So we just-
deadline.
That's what they asked, is there a deadline or a time frame?
That's what I was looking for.
Do not believe there's one. But again, if we don't feel comfortable with it, we shouldn't proceed.
I didn't say I didn't feel comfortable with the cause or the reason.
Yeah.
I said the person.
Okay, the city's intervention in hiring of Lloyd Gosling by passing this resolution will not cost the city any money. As a rate-making proceeding, cities are entitled to reimbursement for their legal and consulting expenses, thus there will be no direct charge to Ballinger as a participant in this rate case.
And the other 30 communities basically our size, larger, smaller, or within the 100, 150,000 life.
I'm gonna say they're approximately our size or larger.
Not to the same, usually the small communities, there's 150 less.
Right.
Speaking of that, it's the names will be
Oh,
more.
what is it?
I think there is a deadline.
What is it?
I think it's June 25th.
This is saying it authorizes the hiring of Thomas Brocado of Lloyd Grossman, Groschel, and Townsend, and consultants to review the company's.
I already sent my statement. If we need to move forward and look into the other 30 people, and that's given to us, then I'll send. Everybody okay with it? All right. Motion authorizes submission of resolution to include the city to intervene in AEP rate case proceeding before the PUC.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
A little slow.
Well, it's your fault.
City council may consider, discuss, and authorize West Central Texas COG use of the community center on September 24th, 2019 from 4 to 6 p.m. to provide the community services they offer for health disability.
Typically we rent this space out, or the community center out, on the weekends. We're going to, let the West Central Texas COG use the community center free of charge. So they're trying to provide community services to just, to offer to offer services to our community. This is something that they've done in the past, and we don't charge them for the use of the facility. We're just asking that we allow West Texas COG to use the facility.
This is for the period of time they need to do that, the certification.
I believe it's just the weekend, isn't it? Both.
2 hours.
2 hours. Yeah, 2 hours, 1.4.
Yeah.
See no problem with that.
No. Go ahead, Rick, no problem, go.
So,
I have a question,
Make a motion that we authorize West Central Texas COG use of the community center on September 24th, 2019 from 4 to 6 p.m. to provide the community the services they offer for health disability.
all in favor, say aye. All right, city council may consider discuss to hear an introduction of disc golf to Ballinger and authorize installation of disc golf course in the city park. Who is doing this?
well, we had an individual here, but he left just a minute ago.
Oh,
I'm
yeah?
trying to throw something at him to get his attention, but, I was in the park, actually looking at the proposed dog park, the putt-putt golf, and I was meeting with Laura Brown that day. And, came across this individual, and he had,
You didn't, I did.
yes, actually, Bob was sitting there talking to him, and he called me, and I was on my way down anyway,
So
so.
elected official, I need votes, okay?
Yes, I understand. Bob had met this individual, and he was putting, he had a temporary, disc golf
That's it.
basket. He was setting them up. What he was doing is trying to set up a course for disc golf. And, anyway, we started talking, and, he had pretty much laid the course out anyway, and, we started looking at some of the equipment that they were proposing to, permanent equipment. Because I was a little interested. I'd like to, make any improvements to the park that I can. And I have seen disc golf on occasion, and I know it's kind of an up and coming. I want to call it a sport, but I'm not real sure if that's what it's going to be called. But it's a great recreation activity, and so we're talking to this individual and a company that supplies the actual baskets and equipment out of San Angelo. They're giving me some pricing on the equipment, and we're looking at the possibility of go ahead and going forward with this course, setting up permanent baskets in the park. Did we have a place where these were going to be at? We didn't have the actual route. Okay.
Remember Tommy said he was gonna go along the road there,
Right.
so the kids wouldn't be, hit or anything.
Right, and it was going to be a 9-hole disc golf course, and mainly sticking to the outer edges of the park, into what we call the moat, where the old water plant used to be. And anyway, so he's come back to me with some pricing that we're going to try and look at. But I wanted to mention it and see if get the council to approve the concept of adding this to the park.
Do you bring your own discs, or is that something that we provide and they have to check out, or?
Well, we can do either one. At this point, typically you would bring your own disc. We could actually supply some at the pool during the season. Now, it's an all-weather course, so I mean, you could do it in the winter if you wanted to. But come to find out, there's quite a following of disc golf. I think they've got a golf course in Braun. They've got one, well,
We got
I think
five.
five in San Angelo. I'm not sure about Abilene. But it's an up-and-coming recreational activity.
Tommy, they just had a tournament in San Angelo, and 200 people should participate. A guy named Mr. Munoz won that. I talked with him, he was at Bronx playing that course.
Right.
He said he could get a lot of those people to come over here.
Well, see, and that's kind of the crux of where we kind of wanted to go.
And he would help with the tournaments.
You could start holding tournaments here, especially if we start adding more courses. Say we get this one added, we can start bringing in people from out of town, which would help boost sales tax in some areas. Now,
Would having a 9-hole course be a disadvantage to a tournament? I mean, do they typically only
I
8-hole
think
course?
most of them are 9.
I don't even know, I only think about it, I've seen it, never played it. I don't think about it.
Most are 9.
Okay.
But I think the real draw is the different types of courses because, you know, now if you want to go play golf, there's tons of facilities to go play golf. So you have a variety. Now, more disc golf places are coming online, but they enjoy going to different tournaments in different areas. I talked to a gentleman the other day, he was actually from New Mexico, and moved here recently. He bought a building down across the street from the,
John North building.
yeah, the old John North building.
Oh.
And he's refurbishing the yellow house up here.
On 7.
Yes,
Ballinger.
yes. And he is an avid disc golf fan. And he's in contact with people in Houston and Austin. And they have talked about having a course here. So, I mean, we could easily get a tournament here, which would attract people, which is what we're trying to do.
Well, we've already jumped the tournaments, but we don't even have a course laid out. We don't know the cost of it yet. So that's,
Yeah,
I
but
want to
you're
know
looking
what
at
our cost is and
approximately $3,000 for equipment.
Okay.
$3,000.
And what's the layout? I know we said around it, but are we going to lay that out this too?
He's gonna do it. Paul Harris is gonna.
Right, guys?
Yeah, he's going to lay out the
Designer course.
design of the course.
Yes, sir. Pardon.
Can I get some feedback on this?
Like,
I think it's great in terms of the idea and concept. I think it's a really bad idea for the park because I'll tell you there's not room to put a 9-hole course down there very well without getting in the middle of everything else and disrupting other things that go on in the park. So I would just say do a lot of research on that first. There's been problems with where they've taken it out in the Dallas area in parks because it interfered with people coming in, were interfering with other things going on in the parks and stuff like that. So maybe look for an alternate location or something like
Tell me,
that.
I disagree with that, because he's gonna start 3 holes up in that nook you're talking about,
Right.
the swimming pool. Then he's coming up the side at the base of the mountain, the hill where the houses are, he's coming up that side,
Right,
and then he's going up toward the Bobos house.
right.
so it's staying all over on that.
Right, he's standing all over
The
on
back
that side.
room.
And then there's that big area
It's
downtown.
totally out of the way of any activity.
I'm just not sure how that could be a regulation course then because that space sounds just way too small.
But it's a start.
I'd just say I would do some research.
And I don't know that it's regulation, because I don't know the regulations, but, you know,
I think adding anything to the park that brings people down.
right.
If this guy does it all the time, apparently he must know what the regulations.
Well, my big thing is where's it going to be laid out and what the cost is. The cost isn't that big. Where's it going to be laid out? And is it going to be interfering with
Yeah,
other
he's
stuff?
sports editor of the Standard Times, and he knows a lot of people.
Okay.
It'll be done right if it's approved.
And if you have Blaine looking over it, then he's going to jump in there.
I think
Super,
it's a good
super.
idea if it's feasible. If he can lay it out and it doesn't interfere with it.
But you remember what he said, the people in the park are the ultimate concern.
Right.
He's getting this little course away from those people.
Right. He took a lot of pain to try and design this around the heavy uses of the park. And, but, you know, the actual design of the course is not set in stone. That can all be moved around if we need to. But to get the baskets, installed, just to get the baskets, it was right at $346, $3,046 per month. And that's basically what we'd like to do is approve the purchase of the equipment.
Well, I think he needs to bring us a layout
Okay.
of what he needs to do, where he intends to put it, how it's gonna be, and give us a presentation of how it's gonna be, and give us.
Well, okay, here's a concern is, I mean, this isn't a concern, but it's in addition to, is you're talking about, and I'm asking Bob because he's the one that talked to him, as far as going below Peggy Five Ash's house and along that way up towards Bobo's. Okay, a lot of that property isn't owned by the city. That's owned by the property owners above. So that property comes down. How's that gonna work?
It depends on where it ends. I mean, does it end right at the pavement? Or, because
It's within a 10.
No, sir.
or do we have a few feet?
Right, well, the city does have an easement right into there. Now, you're not talking about going above the hill,
No,
but,
I'm just saying as far as some of them maybe being
yeah,
not okay with kosher.
None of them utilize the back part.
No,
all the
the
way.
No, I'm saying,
City mows it, doesn't
yeah.
Just that one little
We
part.
maintain and.
I'm only saying in addition to being something to be
Plain
looked at.
discussion on bill for moment.
I'm not against it, but some of them might say, hey, yeah, then you don't take care of it, and I'm not doing it.
it? Then we are anyway.
They don't take care of it.
Well, that right along the road, yes, but up further than that, we don't take care of it.
Right up further now.
No, we don't take care of that. But,
Anyway.
Hmm?
Anyway, alternative location could be the old junior high lot if it doesn't work out.
Yeah, no, that's a viable option.
There we go. Let's move forward.
Well,
Or
and
Lake Park.
we've thought about,
They gotta have trees.
I like the city park better.
They go around trees.
I just think you need to get some kind of proposal together, bring it to us and let us know where each station is gonna be and everything, and how it's gonna be laid out. And some kind of a number of what it's gonna cost to do it.
I agree.
okay,
I agree.
yes, ma'am.
Ms. Patsy.
I will say that we've been approached a few times about disc golf at our other events.
Okay.
I mean, there's an interest.
Somebody mentioned it to me before, I can't remember who it was now.
Are you gonna leave Clay?
That's also a big reason, because y'all had a discussion too about moving the miniature golf to the location that you're talking about putting this down as well. So does that mean that discussion's been decided?
No, but these baskets aren't, I mean, they're set of concrete, but they can be moved. I mean, so what we do now, we may change next year when we can get the new golf course set. I mean, right now, we don't even have a design for a new putt-putt golf. So, you know, why not use the room while we can? And if we need to move the baskets at a later date, it won't be a problem.
And inform him that we may have some plans that he can work, give him a general.
I've talked to him about that and let him know. You know, we do have other plans that,
I think he just needs to get us some information.
right. Well, I was gonna have, he was here earlier, I just don't, I guess he had an appointment or something. Yeah,
Got a call
so, anyway,
I don't think we're against it, but I do think we need to table it until we get some proposal or information on it. And I'm happy.
yeah, I'll get with him and get the course laid out. And we'll come back with this on the next meeting.
All right. Motion to table the disc golf course in the city park for now.
So move.
Second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Thank you, thank you. All right, city council may consider, discuss, and authorize an emergency alert system for the city. And you all have a chart in your file. Nixle was one that we had looked at, and Chief and I were bouncing back and forth between 2 and 3 years ago. But as you see, Nixle is probably the most user-friendly, being able to be integrated into the systems. And Corey, have you checked out a lot of this as far as?
Well, we started taking a look at, we went out for 3 bids for an emergency alert system. And what this is basically a text system that will go out on your telephone, everybody's cell phones. They also have an option to call landlines. Okay. What you would typically use it for is national weather alert system, Amber alerts.
Busted water line.
Well, that's kind of that's where we want to go with it. Is, you know, we want to be able to communicate with the citizens. If we have 8th Street closed because we're working on water lines, we'd like to be able to tell everybody 8th Street's closed. You know, please find an alternate route. we should have it back open by the end of the day or 5 o'clock or something like that. If we have a water main break on 5th Street, if we have, if we're paving or having some issue in the city, we want to be able to communicate that to the citizens. Having the National Weather Service, alerts is kind of a bonus. But we took a look at 3 of them. The only real 3 that are viable options. Now this has been picked up off the table. I think it was talked about in 2016. Is that right?
2017, May of 2017.
Okay, 2017.
And it was put on Ed Grindstaff's desk, and he never did anything.
Okay.
And Stan at that time recommended Nixle.
Yes, and I still recommend this.
Yeah, that was the one that San Angelo was looking at the time, and San Angelo's gone.
San Angelo signed with him.
Yes, yeah, they've been using it the last year. They're better.
Now, what we did is took a look.
They do this in lieu, because I know San Angelo turned off their emergency sirens.
Yes.
Is this one of the reasons they turned it off? Or are we gonna turn theirs off?
I do not plan on turning off. Sorry.
I don't think we're gonna turn them off but they are antiquated and they're costly to try to upkeep, but I know that's not gonna be a real good. We're gonna have a longer transition, but this is really taking the place of the sirens in today's world.
The other day when the tornado was going on,
I like
I
the
was
sirens.
No, I know, I'm not gonna disagree with you.
That's the
Mr.
issue.
Hardy.
San Angelo uses Nixle. None of their notifications went out in time for the tornadoes. Everybody got them about 10 minutes after their roofs were torn
Really?
off.
Well,
Wow.
Yeah, I'm on San Angelo Nixle, and I mean, the road closures and other stuff they're great at. And this is the first time I know of any event like a tornado where they were behind, because before when they had high winds, they put out wind advisories and things like that, but whatever happened with this last one, I don't know.
Okay, that's gonna be the person that's doing the button push, so if somebody pushes
No,
the button late.
it's automatic. Emergencies like tornadoes and stuff go out automatically through Nixle. It was a delay in their software.
well,
Through Nixle, or are you talking San Angelo? Because they still have an authorization in order to do that, just like we do sirens.
No, emergency alerts can be set up to where they automatically go out, and supposedly it was a delay in their software, not user error by San Angelo, but
Somebody's got to tell them to do it.
Right.
well,
it's all plug-in based.
either way, we want to go with the emergency alert system one way or the other.
That's right.
In addition to.
Yes,
anyway.
I do
I don't
not.
mean to part the whole conversation, I just wanna make sure we weren't cutting ours off.
Yeah,
No.
I do not propose that we get rid of our sirens, especially since we heard them just the other day and they work fine.
Absolutely.
You can hear them out in my farm.
Yeah.
Outside of town.
This is just an addition to, and really to be able to communicate with our citizens. The severe weather is just a bonus, really. Nixle is one of the companies we went to, Code Red and Rave. I don't know that you can see it that well on the screen, but we compared them side by side by what they offer and the price at the bottom. And if you look, it kind of narrowed it down to the first 2, Nixle and Code Red. Rave was kind of off the charts on the pricing. So we didn't really even consider them at that point. The only difference is really, we looked at the unlimited agency users, the unlimited messaging, so we can send out unlimited text, email, and social messages. Text-to-speech messaging, which would be for your landlines, really. Separate group messaging, so you can narrow different groups down. If you have people just in, say, on A Street, that we wanted to send messages to, you could define that parameter. Public and private messaging, two-way communication. Now, import contacts and databases. I believe in opt-in, you can go ahead and import that, but you have to,
I know you'd have to have everybody's numbers.
right.
Is that gonna be from the ones that don't have the cell phones and stuff like that, landlines, and they still want it to be called?
I believe that's further.
Well, the way that they explain it to me is important. They can take what we have on our bills right now,
okay.
customers, and they can do it that way.
But that's on Code Red.
Well, I think it's on all of them.
Well, okay. I believe on Nextdoor, you have to opt in as a subscriber.
Okay.
What that opt-in means to me is you as an individual have to opt in. The
Yeah.
other one's saying yes there, so they can import your data.
Exactly, that's what that is.
Automatic.
Right.
So,
We would have a link on our website, and they could go to that link and
Right.
basically do it that way.
So you're not gonna get any users until somebody does that, is what opt-in means.
Right,
When you
exactly.
get customer data.
Social media integration, both of them have that. We'll skip down to National Weather Service rebroadcast. Nexel has partnership, and, well, so does Code Red. IPAW is FEMA publication. Stan's probably gonna have to give us a little more information on that. But what it is, yeah, it has to do with being FEMA certified. We would have to get FEMA certified to opt in for the FEMA publication. Let's see, Google Public Alerts. We're not currently, Code Red is not currently in Google Public Alerts, but I'm not sure if that's something we would need. The iPaws is, I'm not sure if that's something we would need. The Amber and Silver Alerts, I'm not sure if that's something we would need. But these are some of the differences between the two. Both of them have Spanish translation, geographic targeting, let's see, zip code based and address based. Now, on the address based, you'd have to opt in for a higher plan. And also in Nexel, you'd have to have a higher plan for landline if you wanted to include landlines. One of the differences is between the two is the time to be up and running or to get it set up. Nexel takes about a week. Code Red would take a few hours. They both have 24-hour support. Some of the cities using in the area, San Angelo uses Nexel, Brownwood and Abilene are using Code Red at the moment. Initial setup fee for both. Nexel is $280. Code Red has no setup fee, so it'd be no dollars. Yearly fee, they have a subscription rate. Nexel was $3,500, but I think they went down to $3,000. Is that
We're
correct?
down to 3,000 today.
Right.
Send me an email.
And Code Red is $2,225. Now, if you look on paper between the two, the only difference is going to be the National Weather Service rebroadcasting. Well, they both have that.
So this is where my question's about to come from is Code Red and Nexel do the exact same things.
It looks like it.
And you can have Code Red up in a few hours with no setup fee.
Right,
And it's $800 cheaper.
right, a year. That's a yearly
There's
subscription.
actually about 300 companies that all do the same thing.
There's about a million.
Searching at listing prices.
Now, I'm agreeing with you. There's a
There
ton
are,
of companies to do this, but I agree.
But Tom was researching it, and that everybody follows Code Red for the most part, and Nixel are the two big names.
right, right. Now, we've looked at different apps and looked at buying our own software, but we haven't found where that would be more advantageous than the Nexel Code Red, what we have here.
The main thing with Nixel and Code Red is the integration with National Weather Service broadcast. What you do is you go in and you set thresholds. If you have straight line winds at a certain speed, it sends out on your, you say, okay, if it's over 50 miles an hour, it sends a notice automatically. Anything that comes from the National Weather Service that meets your criteria goes out automatically without you having to push a button. A lot of the others, you physically have to go in and send out the messages. Somebody has to approve it or type it in or whatever.
An example of the National Weather Service broadcast, do we need that? I got a notification the other day to cover from National Weather Broadcast. Are we gonna double everybody up and now they're all dying to read 2 or 3 texts and stuff? I already got that on my phone from the National Weather Service. Because I have emergency alerts set up on my phone.
Right.
And it's unless you're telling me to do.
Well, and see, some other things I've heard, you know, if you're living in a bigger city, not that we're gonna have this problem here, but, there's Amber Alerts, like, maybe 2 or 3 a day, you know, and you have to go in and take them off, because else you get all these Amber Alerts like that. Now, we don't have that problem here, we may get 2 a year, you know, unless people may be passing through San Antonio or something. But, so that is a good question, do we need it? I mean, who has National Weather Service alert already? You know?
So how many you have leanings between the two?
Apples to apples, it looks to me like Code Red would be the one that I might lean towards.
How does Brownwood like Code Red?
Well, that's what I want to do. I want to know what the emergency response team said.
Well, heavily encourage y'all to look at the software programming on Code Red and ask them when they're gonna be updating and how they think their update's gonna go.
Okay.
That Wayne Fire Department, had some words, like to see if y'all get the same information back, because they're expecting some downtime.
Okay. Well,
How did that affect them Saturday?
No, they're getting ready to have to upgrade their software. Nixel's already upgraded their software. You're talking about Code Red, last update was almost 8 years ago, 7 years ago. Nixel just updated theirs within the last year.
I understand that. And what would a typical downtime be?
They're not gonna be, they were saying that they thought they were not gonna be able to run a dual system. So their system would actually be down while they were updating.
Or,
They could not get an answer.
so it could be a year.
Could not get an answer. It's just something the person would get to it all the time.
Did that part say they were having trouble with Code Red?
Am I calling?
Did not Pat say that they had some
Code Red.
problems in Brownwood?
It's up my alley with upgrades and stuff. What, you got a contact, you can send me?
Yeah, we can research this some more.
And how does San Angelo feel about Nixel other than this stuff the other day?
I'm asking.
I looked at the
Hold on.
user friendliness of it, and Nixel is the best user friendly, because it's not just me using it, it's everybody else using it. That will have access to it, and it's more, you know, can Rick do it? Yes, Rick can do it. Same way with Jason. You know, both members, I mean, even Bob can probably use it.
Even Bob?
I don't know about
What does the fire department think about the difference between the two? If you were to pick, what would y'all pick?
Me personally, I'd pick her Nixon. My wife uses it, and she's been using it since they've had it at San Angelo forever, and so she's had it like, she gets more stuff, knows more stuff about what's going on in San Angelo than I do. So, I mean, she loves it.
Stand back in May of 17, you handed out this booklet, and you handed out this Nixel and Code Red. And I assume you researched both of them, and you came up with Nixel. I'm gonna go on your recommendation.
And fire department think Nixel.
Well, given both the fire department and the police department, I would think Nixel would be the one to
And I
go
think
with.
they're the ultimate authorities in this
The
situation.
Nixel, you can sign, I guess, by texting too, to their 888-777 number with your cell phone. So they're really, like Sam said, they're user friendly to get updates from.
Well, given the price difference between the two is not that great,
Right.
especially
Well,
since
not since
Nixel,
they've come down.
yeah, Nixel came down to $3,000.
You
But
talked
Tommy, in May of 17, it's $6,500.
That's correct.
That's what I said. I knew a cost and a contract was the issue in 17.
That was also the next thing that they were worried about is after they did the software upgrade, where were they gonna be on pricing?
Right. Well, given that they've come down on their pricing, that both the police department and the fire department prefer Nixel, I really think that'd be the wisest choice if we were gonna do one.
I agree.
I agree.
Work for me.
Okay. All right, motion to authorize emergency alert system for the city, selected as Nixel.
So moved.
Second?
We will go forward with,
All in favor, say aye.
Alright.
Yes,
okay.
Nixel. Yes, no, yeah.
Good. I'll email them tonight, never wait on it.
Okay.
I'll email them tonight,
Email them what?
that we're good with things.
So we want to set up and.
Okay, forward with it. And I'll,
Let's talk before we do that.
I can leave that set up.
Yeah, I mean, there's some other stuff. I'd like, I'm sure there's gonna be a contract involved. and-
You want some of these?
Okay,
Door number. All right, city council may consider, discuss, and authorize approval of a contract with NetLink for Wi-Fi, internet, and phone service for all city buildings.
It's no doubt, just having the fall quick.
Oh, okay.
a couple of weeks ago, a company called NetLink, their Wi-Fi internet provider, came to us asking to use our water tower as a communication tower. And basically, they were just going to attach some equipment to the tower, the water tower, to start providing Wi-Fi in town.
Which water tower?
The main water tower at the park, well, close to the park. We started talking to them about what they could do for the city of Ballinger. Jason Gore had talked to previously, going about 6 months ago, we started looking at trying to get Wi-Fi downtown and maybe start
Interconnect all of our offices, the bigger picture.
working on our phone bill because
All
we're paying,
those outrageous
paying about $13,000 a year for telephone service.
and business, or internet.
And internet. So we started talking to NextLink about what they could do. Basically, what we've come to an agreement on, they would be able to provide us free internet and telephone service for 5 years if we would let them put their equipment on our water tower. It kind of morphed into more. They were going to be able to provide us equipment to replace our telephone system, which is antiquated. And
Our phone system antiquated?
But to get all of our offices connected to the same phone system.
right.
I was gonna say, we
Right
got
now,
that one like 3 years ago, so that's not.
Well, antiquated.
we have 5 phone lines here. We have 5 phone lines at PD.
One phone line is five phone.
One at the fire
And it's an
department.
old phone. That's it.
We're managing a SCADA system at the water plant, and we've got different locations where we have telephone lines. Altogether, with Wi-Fi and our telephone service, we pay $13,200 a year. We had offered, we're talking about purchasing telephone systems. I believe it's going to be around $4,000 for the purchase of the telephone systems and equipment. But after that, everything else would be free because we're an analog voice system landline to voice over IP. So
So the bigger picture they call my things, and I don't want to interrupt you, that's a one-time fee.
Right.
Next year we don't have to pay the $13,000.
Right.
There's no more recurring fees on our
Correct.
phones.
Correct.
Period.
And we're tying everything together as we were looking to do.
And our phone numbers will port, so we'll keep the same phone number. And we're tying all the offices together, Bonita can visit a hold here, and pick them up over at the water plant.
right,
Pick them up downtown at the PD, whatever, transfer from here to here.
right.
And have to call another number to say, you got a phone call this guy, whatever it is.
Well, I relied on Jason heavily on his technical information because he's a telephone guy anyway in his day job. So,
That's what I do.
yeah. But we think we can get some good internet service and phone service with this company. They're going to provide it to us for free for 5 years. It's a contract on the table. It's a 5-year contract that's extendable. Contract's currently with Pat, And, there were some changes that we're going back and forth with. So the contract is technically not set yet. There were some changes that needed to be made. We sent it back to them. We're bouncing it back and forth between the lawyers at the moment. But, we would like to approve the, concept, I guess, of this proposal. And, because the contract's not ready. So, but I did want to at least touch on it with the council, let them know where we're headed with it, what we'd like to do, and when the contract's ready, we can bring it back up. So we'll have to kind of table this till Pat
Yeah,
comes back.
this is for approval of the contract, we don't have the contract approved, so.
Right.
I'm good with the concept, but this is.
It's a very good concept. It's gonna help. I mean, they're gonna resell services out. That's what they're recouping their money.
Right.
For giving us all this free stuff.
Right.
They're giving us a lot of free stuff.
Well, and they're gonna run fiber to one of the towers there, to the standpipe at the high school.
So they're gonna backhaul us on fiber.
Why don't they use that big tower that the city has to begin with instead of putting them on the water tower?
Which one?
The one that's at the bottom of the hospital.
The antenna.
Yeah. It's a possibility.
You start putting that on top of your antenna, you're gonna mess up your meter reading system.
Well,
Also,
other cities are doing it as well. It works on different frequency.
yeah.
So this isn't something that we hadn't thought about.
All right, we're gonna table it, so motion to table, please. The authorization of the contract for Nixon.
We got a table until
Yeah.
Pat back in there.
Motion to table.
Second,
Second.
all in favor, say aye. Thank you. All right, I did not see any building permits. Do we have any that came in?
We do not.
Okay. All right, go to the city administrator, bi-weekly report.
It's getting really water.
Well, yeah, I got a lot to talk about this week. As you know, Saturday, May 18th, 2019, the city of Ballinger, Texas was struck by an F3 tornado. The tornado traveled 19 miles, was 0.6 of a mile wide, and carried a sustained wind velocity of 155 miles per hour. That's what so far we've got from the Weather Center. We might, they might send a team in to reevaluate because they were thinking it may have been an F4. They're not sure, but they're asking people to stop, clean up if they can, if it's not necessary, so they can come back in and reevaluate. So I don't know if we're gonna be able to stop cleanup, but
Move on.
yeah.
They gotta get here in a hurry.
Yeah, exactly. To date, we've found approximately 25 people countywide directly affected, and about $5 million worth of damage so far. We've had one individual that's been injured that we know of and no casualties. We've contacted the Texas Department of Emergency Management and are in the process of supplying data and information. I think I get everybody and I find 2 or 3 more stuck around in the county that I didn't know about. So this is kind of an ongoing issue until we get going. None of this made the program, so our presentation was set before Saturday. So this is just added information. Our water tower. Hidson Todd is the engineer of record on the water tower. That sustained two puncture wounds, 2 punctures in the 1/2-inch steel sheets.
The wall.
Yes, the wall of the water tower. In inspection this morning, we found that there was a concession stand trailer at the baseball field, and you can see this was part of a larger. It was an axle on the trailer that actually punctured the tower. It was this part here, and this was came off the actual axle. There's half the axle's still out there. Anyway, so, that's how we ended up with our punctures on our tower. His and Todd determined that the tower had moved about a quarter of an inch backwards. And, and that's 150,000 gallons of water in that tower. So there was a lot of weight there, and it moved it a quarter of an inch back. So I guess the trailer traveling 155 miles an hour packed a pretty good punch. So his and Todd, they're going to send an actual tank inspector out to take a look, but we're thinking that we're going to determine that the tower is a total loss, and we'll ask our insurance to get us a new tower. That's kind of the direction we're going to head. So that tower will be out of commission until we can get another one built. Well, it'll be basically the same design, probably in the same place. We're not sure about the integrity of the slab that it's sitting on, because it could have impacted the structural bolts in the slab. And I mean, it could be when you talk about a hit like that.
When it moves, it's got to be visible. I mean,
Right, well, yeah, you're affecting the bolts, which affects concrete.
Built, it's got to affect.
Everything is physically attached to the thing.
Right, so, we think there's plenty of, reason to believe that the whole tower it needs to be replaced.
It looks like it's leaning. It moved in unnoticed.
So, anyway, so that's where we're headed with our tower. What else? We on Saturday after the tornado, we had a huge community response. First and foremost, the fire department. They had spotters on the ground. They were cutting people out in the county and the city. Our police department, I pulled one individual out of the room. We had one individual in the county that sustained an injury. She didn't make it into her basement, and she made it to a closet. When the tornado hit, it rolled her up in the carpet and threw her 50 feet out into the field. She sustained a laceration to her hand. Going back, thanking the fire department, police department for their service, and because without them, it could have been a lot worse for a lot of people out there. Following the tornado, we had a huge response from our city employees came out in droves. Buddy's Plant Plus, we'd still be digging out if it weren't for some of their equipment and their people that they sent out.
Just like crews over there this morning,
Exactly.
using his equipment to pick up all the stuff in the backyards.
Right. Fire department had chainsaw crews, the city did. We had just people coming in. Donnie Parsons came in, with chainsaws. People were just showing up. So it was, even though it's something, a tragedy that happened, it's huge when you start seeing people just filing in without being asked, just knowing something happened, come to see what they can do to help. I don't know how many times we were standing there or, working, moving debris, and people just started coming up,
The ones with donations, I know Walmart brought a lot of water, Golden Ship donated tubs and tubs of tea.
Right.
Sonic brought ice.
Right.
I only know this because family, so I'm trying to say some of the names of the
Yes, Jim
organizations.
would carry in. He organized a food tent. They cooked food. Dufresne, what was his name?
Earl,
Earl Dufresne. He actually cooked for all the people working out there, volunteering. There were people giving water and Gatorade.
Random people. Some guys showed up with bags full of toothpaste and first aid kits and towels and
Right.
and when who he was.
Right. Well, the organization was I mean, for it to be completely unexpected was incredible. I mean, to have it work as efficiently as it did, and with all the people involved, I think we're working on getting a list. I think Alton and Lisa, some of the ones that were affected here in town, wanted to put something in the papers, you know, thanking everybody for their efforts from the, you know, the First Baptist Church and, you know, the people handing out water and golf carts. And, you know.
Yeah, there was a church out in the county, we was out taking photos, and we had taken some stuff to some linemen, and there was a churches, there's a couple of churches going to houses out there, people, 443 where they got hit really hard in 2111. And I don't know what church the people were from, but there were two minivans and they were taking food out to the people in those houses and the people cleaning up over there.
So, you know, that's what happens when you live in a small community. You know, people come together, and it's heartwarming to see it happen. And so, let's see if I mention everybody. Russell Byler, Jay McNulty, the dispatcher at the time. I know she was incredible. There was so much going on at the same time. She was like the director, you know, for the emergency response services. So, because of the tornado, we're still having some cleanup efforts here and there. A lot of people are waiting on their insurance, their adjusters, and so we're still working on the cleanup efforts in different areas. I know the county's doing a lot, or trying to. A lot of the people are out there doing it themselves. We got 2 houses completely ready, you know, uncovered, and 2 were just unrecoverable. So, but we're going to have, I believe, Tuesday the 21st, an after-action meeting to kind of go over some lessons learned, some things that we could have done better, some equipment we might need to buy in the future. So to just review what we've done and, you know, if there's anything we can do to make it better.
So question on that, I saw the email today, it was sent to us, council is off, we cannot show up today.
Well, it's going to be more of an emergency response.
I don't want to end any kind of open meetings violations or anything, all of us being the same.
Yeah, no, this is just more, you know, the police and the city and the fire department getting together.
Observing will be fine, huh?
Yeah, but we're just going to sit down in a meeting and say, okay, here's where we, you know, what happened. You know, we've got some ideas, might make it better here. For instance, we bought some bullhorns for later, because I think it would have been great to be able to communicate to people picking up debris here and there. And tried it out on my wife. It was great. Yeah. Let's see. There's some equipment that I would like to see the city get later. There were some attachments to some of the equipment that Buddy's Plant Plus had that were really nice to have. I mean, they were able to really move a lot of material quickly. And so that's something that we'd like to budget next year. There's some forms that we would like to get, kind of like a go bag where we can, you know, because I'm now having to go back and look for people and their names and addresses and try to see, you know, if they had insurance or not, because some of the FEMA forms that we're looking at, you know, in order to get more of the FEMA or emergency management money open to us, you know, if people were uninsured, if they had really high deductibles, you know, so some of these forms would have been handy had we been able to pass them out when we got to some of these locations, or at least gone back around. Yes, sir.
I don't mean busting your time, but to throw a name out there for anybody that can pass it along, there's a group in Angelo, or Great Creek, Angelo, called Firefighters Closet.
Right.
They contact us right away after any structure fire. They contact us anytime anything happens in our city.
Right.
They contact and reach out. And they've asked if anybody needs anything from cleaning equipment to clothes. They warehouse it, they separate it, they, whatever needs, they've always reached out to Runs County. So if anybody knows, if anybody needs anything, we have their contact information on the Ballinger Fire Department Facebook page. And they, of course, have their own as well. It's called the Firefighters Closet.
Well, and see, we're getting HEB and Lowe's also calling, to help out as well. So that's why it'd be nice to have contact information when we're there, because now I'm having to go back and try, and they've gone off with an aunt or an uncle or a niece or nephew, and you're trying to find these people. So it's just little stuff like that. We're trying to, it'd be nice to review, get some lessons learned, some things we might do different later. Now I'm going to go back into our regularly scheduled, yeah, on the agenda. The annual audit for fiscal year 2018 was currently underway. I think they've got.
Still working on it.
Well, they came in last week and got all the information that they typically like to get, and Bonina and the team supplied all the information thus far. So they'll continue working on this in Abilene, and it'll probably be a month or so before we get some results. The city of Ballinger, we hosted a concealed handgun class for city employees and spouses on the 17th of May. We had 14 people attend, and 14 people passed. So the class. So now this isn't something the city paid for, the employees paid for. We just kind of hosted it. We let them use the firehouse. Yes, the classroom, and then went out to the gun range later. But all the employees paid, so this isn't something the city paid for. We met, I guess it was today, with the parts supplier. We've had some issues with inventory. We have had since I've been here. We haven't got a really good set inventory for our parts for the water department. I bet we ran to Angelo 2-3 times a week trying to get supplies. We've worked with Ford Maine, which is one of our main suppliers, to come in and set an inventory, and so they can kind of monitor it. And well, we're both monitored. What happens? They'll come in and set an inventory on, say, 2-inch clamps, and maybe they say we need 10 clamps, and then they'll come by every 2 weeks to monitor it. And if we've used 4, then they can replace 4. If we've used 6, they'll replace 6. If we've only used 2 in 6 years, then maybe we need to reduce that to none. So this will be a really good start of a inventory program for our water department. And they came out today, looked around. They'll be giving us numbers so they can help us get set up on our inventory.
So Bill, we kind of talked about that a little bit today. When they come in and you've used 4, then or whatever, and they're going to come, they don't automatically replace that and bill you for it. They have to come and give you
That is correct.
a form saying you need to replace
Right.
these items in your inventory. They just do it automatically.
No, it's not an automatic.
That's
Right. They just, basically what they do is they look at the inventory, then they, determine that you need to order 4 more. So they may even work it out on a sheet. You go through, check what they're putting down, because you gotta check what they put down. They might not put down the correct items. I mean, you wanna make sure they're not overloading their invoice to, pad their invoice. So, but this is a good tool that we can use for inventory control. And, you know, it's kind of on the ground. You know, our first step into inventory control for the water department. And, because what we'd like to see later is, once you have your inventory, you already have a work order system, you can use these work orders to start automatically ordering parts and pieces that you used. So if you go out 2 in the morning and use a 2-inch clamp, that next morning, once the work order is completed, it could, in a computer system, automatically order that. But you'd have to have a contract, set pricing, and stuff like that. This may be something where we go in the future, but for right now, it's a good start just to get the inventory set. That way, we know what we have, we won't know what we're supposed to have, and anything above and beyond that, we'll have to take a look at. So, what's next? Our inventory, the equipment quotes for the FAST grant, they were due today. They actually got them in by Friday. I think that was all of them. And that's for the grant we just talked about.
We were shy of one, but they gave us numbers.
Okay.
So you saw the package for that one
Right.
truck. I mean, these packages are even bigger, so.
Sure.
But they did give us numbers passed on. So.
Now, what actual vehicles were we proposing to?
Multi-purpose vehicle we'll have a pumper that we can use in town.
Right.
But it's a heavy rescue unit is what it is.
Right.
It did have a phone system on it, had a water tank on it, so of course we could do something with vehicles in town, out of town, just wherever we were. We don't have that right now. We don't have to take grass truck with us. And also a cascade system that we could actually fill our tanks up on site at a house fire and not have to take everything back to the station, fill it up, bring it back, that kind of stuff. So.
Right.
It's not just a rescue vehicle, it's really a multi-purpose vehicle.
Multi-function.
Right.
And we could have a crew greater than 3 that could go in it. We could get up to 5, possibly 6, depending on which unit we go with, so that we just take a vehicle to an incident and not multiple vehicles to an incident that just clog it up. So, and then we did the possible brush truck, and then we also added the 100 kW plus a generator with lighting system that can be used for any emergency, any incident,
And that's transportable, right?
that's transportable. That's on a trailer.
Right. Right. Excellent. So that's some of the equipment we were looking at for the fast range. We have a pool kickoff, Saturday, May the 25th. We're gonna open for Memorial Day. We got hot dogs, I believe it was from IGA. And, I believe the park board is throwing in some cotton candy. We're gonna go from 12 to 2 o'clock. These items will be free. We'll have some free admission into the pool. The pool is great. It's clean. We've made a few repairs here and there. But we were ready for the swimming season. So, I think we have a sign that we're making.
You have 2 more,
3 of them, I believe.
one for this, one for the fishing tournament, and
Yeah.
I can remember the other one too.
Okay. But we're gonna set one right here, at the entrance, well, at the end of the railroad.
Right there.
Yes, yes. And, that way, let people know that the pool is open. And, probably put something in the paper. And, to let everybody know the pool's open. So.
If I get it in my mind tonight, okay.
What else is there? Oh, ooh, that's a big one. Okay. Our property valuation has gone up recently. And there was a lot of controversy and a lot of talk about it. I got with the Rawlins County Appraisal District, and they agreed to have a town hall meeting. We were going to set the location here on May the 28th at 5:30, but we've just moved that. Well, we had such a great response that we decided to move it to the community center, and because this is countywide, but hopefully we'd like to be able to get communication out there to the citizens as to why the Rawlins County Appraisal District does what they do. There's a lot of misinformation. For instance, if you paint your house, your taxes will go up. I don't know that that's necessarily the case. That's why we got, hopefully get them together and talk about, how they come up with some of their valuation. I know a lot of it's driven by the state of Texas. People are saying a lot of stuff that may or may not be true, so we'll get it straight from the horse's mouth. So, just in an effort for us to communicate more with the community. What else? That's it. Done. And it is 7:35. No, I'm done.
All right, your request for future agenda items from the city council. Anything else anybody on future agenda, please? As usual. Y'all jump up and down. All right, motion to adjourn. Second, all in favor, say aye. Thank you. Thank y'all very much for coming in. Appreciate y'all. Have a great week.